Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. This is our 93 500E. This video is for Oscar in New York. And I believe it's part 8 of a repair project here. It's been a while, I haven't done any videos on it because I've been working on other projects. But I finally had some time to spend on it yesterday and today, and actually on Saturday I was polishing the valve covers. So let's just talk about these for a second. Now I had to polish these surfaces because originally they were painted and then the seal goes over, but now because the paint was chipping everywhere, chipping off, I had to polish to bare metal, so this way it's gonna give you a really nice seal. And many different processes, obviously coarse to fine, and the last polish was with 3000 grit disc, so it's very smooth now. It were rough edges. There's still a couple of edges here that I couldn't take out. You cannot remove very tiny bits of metal because, I mean, if you take too much metal, then as you can see, but this is already cast, there's nothing you can do about that. But anyway, this is much better from what it was. There was just pieces of paint and pieces of old gaskets just left there. And again, these are the most problematic areas. These are nice and smooth. So I tried to go a little over the edge, so like the seal is gonna be good. Some old paint resembles here. It's like the remains rather. As you can see, some old paint is still here, but it should be just fine. I mean, this is the best you can do. I spent like hours doing this by hand and all. I mean, I just don't want to remove them anymore because to get them out, it's just a process and a half. So I want to do it once. I don't want to revisit this. Okay, so what's the progress for today at this point, at this moment rather? So in previous videos I put on covers, upper chain covers, and let them to seal, so obviously silicone set, and I could proceed with further installations. So on this side we finally have our power steering hoses and hydraulic system hoses connected. Power steering pump is installed, tightened up, torqued down. That's a power steering tandem pump with suspension pump. Both circuits are primed, so I still have a little bit of fluid there, I'm sure. Yeah, just a little bit on the bottom there, but anyway, I'm still gonna have to put on a retainer for new filter. That's a new filter there, a new fluid. I'm also going to basically flush the system. I mean, I think I should, because this power steering, it's the transmission fluid is in it, so I want to get it all out as much as I can and just leave power steering fluid. Steering gear lubricant, they call it, the Mercedes calls it. As you can see, this is can power steering oil, steering gear lubricant for older cars. I don't think I should put transmission fluid in it. I want to put original Mercedes stuff. That way you prevent, at least you try to prevent leaks from power steering gear, which is actually not leaking, which is rare. So that is taken care of. That's all torqued down. Tensioner is there. As you can see, it's ready for the belt. This pulley cleaned off a bit because it had little bits of belt, probably old belt remaining on it. Everything spins just fine. As you can see, there's no problems here. The chain tensioner is installed. Timing chain tensioner is back in the car. The new one is in place. I put a little bit of silicone around the bolts, one bolt and one nut, just because they always leak from those areas. They torque to 25 newton meters, and that's basically where you want to be, and that's new crush washer and everything. So I primed it as well before I put it in. I lubricated it so it doesn't start up dry. I removed the top piece, the end, like a cap, because the spring will travel further and it's going to give you more tension when you start the vehicle. I've done it on my 92 500 SEL. It works just fine. No more rattling noise when you start the engine, so that's good. Caps are old, but rotors are new. Vacuum hoses, as you can see, these vacuum lines, they're new. Another third vacuum hoses right here, new pipes installed. Elbow adapters, pretty much most of them, they're all new. because I bought those. Some of them are okay, like these two, they're perfect. They probably were replaced at some point. This one was completely perished. I have it in the parts bin. I'll show you later when you come to pick the car up. So somebody did an ingenious way of disconnecting the air pump, which is with these things, so I have to readapt these again. So I don't know why they did it. I guess the connector was completely rotted, so, or whatever happened. I mean, I'll fix that. So that's done. This is done. The reservoir is installed. I didn't silicone it. I decided I'm not gonna silicone it because I clean surfaces so nice, it's like glass. So I just put the seal on and tighten it up. That's it. Because it should be fine. If surfaces are prepared properly, no need for silicone. It takes more time, but it's the right way of doing things. Okay, so what else I did here? So that was that. Like I said, the cams are still locked up, and the reason for that is because what I want to do is I want to we're gonna go look under the car because the oil sump is removed, so there's no oil in the system. I don't want to turn it over with no oil. So once I've changed the oil and I put new filter in, fill the oil up, then I can turn it by hand, and then obviously it will be a starting condition. It will be ready to start. Alright, so I'm going to pause this video because I'm pretty much finished with the top portion. I'm gonna have to work from underneath now, and I'll show you what's going on in the oil sump area in maybe a glimpse of upper oil pan. Okay, so now we have the car in the air, and before we go to oil sump, a quick note about crossover pipe here, exhaust pipe. As you can see, it is not tightened up yet. The donut is fine, these bolts are okay, but one of the bolt was not very good actually. As you can see, that bolt right there that goes into the headers, I'll show you the condition of that. It was damaged already. I barely removed it, so the good news is that I did remove it. The bad news is it cannot be reinstalled because I have to get a new one, which I did already. I ordered the new one already because the head, I mean, I could install it, but I don't want to leave it there because two damages. The head was like rounded off already, and then we have the threads. As you can see, there's damage on the thread, so obviously we don't want to install that bolt. The good news is that the threads on the exhaust manifold both threads are fine, so that's a good thing. So I'm gonna get new bolts. They're on their way. I'm gonna use new bolts there. Steering damper that's supposed to be here is also on order. Alright, so here's our oil sump area. This is our oil pump. This is what we see under the vehicle. So what can I say about it? This is how it was. As you can see, there's some stuff coming down. That's from cleaning the engine, because I was cleaning the top of the engine, as if you remember. And a bunch of the stuff that you're gonna find in the oil sump is going to be pretty much the dirt and stuff that actually just went all the way down into the sump. So what we're doing here is just expecting and seeing if anything is kind of like messed up. But to me, it's a runner. I mean, the engine is a runner. It wasn't like sitting doing nothing. So you can see a little bit of caramel color. That's the heat. So probably a couple of oil changes were skipped, but it's not too terrible. So that's not going to be a big problem. Once I sprayed it with brake cleaner, as you can see, it cleans right off. This is how it just with quick spray. This was sprayed, and that portion right there was sprayed. This was not sprayed. So as you can see, it's much wider. So I'm thinking a couple of synthetic oil changes with better properties of synthetic oil would clean up this engine a bit, and it should be just fine. Okay, so that's not a problem. I don't see it being an issue. Now, looking down into the oil pan itself, the oil sump rather, what we see here is that gooey stuff, and obviously this is the stuff. A bunch of the stuff is what I cleaned off from upper engine portion, because everything would drain down. So as you can see, it's like gear oil almost. It's very hard substance, but there are no pieces, no metal, no nothing, clean. So that's a very good sign. I don't see any kind of like shavings or anything, and not any shining. This is just basically like thick oil substance that just solvents probably dissolved and everything leaked down into the pan. So obviously we're in good shape here. That of course is going to be cleaned up. Now this piece I found inside, and to me this is an oil separator tube, which is missing all along. I ordered an oil separator for the passenger side cylinder head. It's just not there. I mean, it's just missing all along. So I ordered a new pipe, and I ordered the oil separator, tiny little oil separator. It's supposed to sit by cylinder number 4 inside the bore, and it's not there. So that is coming in. And new gasket. Even though this gasket looks okay, but since it's already removed, might as well replace it. And again, all of this stuff that we see here is pretty much like mix of solvents and dirt, so it's not hard stuff. You see, you don't, maybe just a little bit, but tiny little bit, and that's the stuff that actually just drained down from the top upper portion of the engine. So we're pretty good here. That's pretty nice. I mean, even though it looks horrible, but it's actually not too bad. So that's good news. It's definitely gonna run. Let me get some to wipe my hand. So that's pretty nice. So basically this is where we are. It's coming along, and it's going to probably be started in a couple of days. Probably I'm aiming to start this on Thursday, which is the day after tomorrow. I'll be working on it on Thursday until next week. I won't be here. So from parts we have left few things. New rotors are installed. Those are the caps. I have our valve cover gaskets and some little pieces of pipes that were not used. I got some spark plugs. These are genuine spark plugs. I bought like quite a few because I wanted to have some in stock as well. Mercedes Benz FADC4, which is the non-resistor plug. This is the one that you do want in your older Mercedes. So I bought quite a few because I always need them, and I had a set, but I installed it in my 600 SL, so I bought more. Oh, I'm sorry, that was an old filter. This is the new power steering filter. So a new power steering filter. This is the power steering parts, the cap, that power steering, the oil cap, oil dipstick, fuel pressure regulator. We got some seal for the headlight, and for now that's all I see in terms of parts. Well, I removed mass airflow sensor. Upper radiator hose, we're gonna leave it. It's actually in good shape. It's pretty nice actually, so I don't see I need to replace that. And that's basically all. So valve covers, I cleaned them up a little bit here and there just to make them a little more presentable. This is our suspension filter. There's nothing really in it, you know, it's just a filter, so I like a mesh. Although for some reason I do not see a magnet in it. It's usually has a magnet in it, but I don't know, there's no magnet. Anyway, this can be always replaced. I want to run the fluid anyhow, so I'm gonna use this filter for now. It's just a screen, I'll clean the screen, but in reality most of these filters are supposed to have magnet, but this is an early style, maybe it doesn't have it. It didn't have it then. Oil cap I'm replacing because it's split. You see that? It's just a split. And this will have to be replaced anyway. Dipstick is cracked as well. But that's minor stuff, it's not major. Pile of old parts, you know, that's the stuff that came from the vehicle, like hoses, vacuum pipes, and all of these little things. Tensioner, fuel filter, the steering damper, and such. Lower engine harness, So whatever, those are the parts. So that's basically all. Okay, it's a long video, but this is another update. I haven't done any videos on this car for a while, so here is a little longer update than usual. Hopefully on Thursday I'll fill it up with oil. I'll probably run regular oil right now, not synthetic, just to have it running, and then full synthetic oil would have been put in, because lots of stuff was in the car, like lots of solvents and all. So I don't really want to just, you're basically going to waste your oil. You want to wash the engine off a bit with old oil, whatever, the cheapest oil, and then put new oil in. Suspension situation will be taken care of later. The ball joint situation, because it's the whole control arm assembly. Ball joints are not removable. I also going to replace an O-ring on that sensor up there. I don't know if you can see it. See, that's the end, like the rear part of the oil level sensor. There is an O-ring. It's kind of a pain to get to, but because it's like right there, the piece is right there, it always leaks, so I'm gonna replace that. And here's our level and pressure connectors. This is new harness already. I installed that harness a while back. And other than that, I mean, we're pretty much on schedule here, so hopefully next week it will start and run. Alright, so this is all for now. This is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.